This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only two-time PWG Battle of Los Angeles champion, King Ricochet, and you are listening to Busted Wide Open Podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to our Patron Mailbag series. This is episode number 13. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and I am excited once again to be here and answering the questions from you out there, you who have joined us on patreon.com/BWO and joined up to give us your hard-earned money to support this show and all that we do. And we thank you so much for that if you are one of our patrons and you are supporting this show. And if you are not signed up yet, it's never too late. You can go sign up right now and you can have your questions answered on this very show as well. We do this every week. Saturdays live after our regular Saturday show, which usually ends about give or take right around 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 Eastern. So, Nick, anything we got to tell them about before we hop right in and get some of these questions?
Yeah, you guys watching this show know where to find us, but in case you stumbled across this one on the YouTubes, you can head over to facebook.com and just search for Busted Wide Open, like our page, and send us a join request to get into the BWO discussion group with the rest of the phenomenal ones. That's where we all hang out, and you'll find a link to our Discord server community stuck to the top of the section. If you're watching us here on YouTube, you can find links to all this stuff down in the description below. And you all can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you jingle that little bell as well so you get notified anytime we put up new content or go live, so you can hang out in the live chat as we do all of the shows. But Ian, this show is all about the mailbag. It's all about the questions, and it's all about the patrons and their questions that they send into us every single week. So let's not waste any more time waxing poetic about ourselves. Let's just answer the questions.
Let's just answer some questions.
Yeah. First up, Brandon asks us, hope you guys had a good New Year's. I absolutely did, Brandon. Thank you very much. Hope you did as well. Ian, how was your New Year's before we get started? You did 2 double shifts, right?
Yes. So one of my bars is an Irish bar, and because for us, 4 p.m. is midnight in Ireland, we had a midnight New Year's Eve party there. And so the bar was packed and I got my butt kicked there. I had to be there for a few hours and handle all that nonsense. And then I left there and went straight to my other bar, which is downtown Los Angeles, which got just absolutely jam-packed and had absolute insanity. Some of our highest numbers we've ever rung, and got my ass kicked down there for another 8 hours. So yeah, I did about 14 hours straight, give or take, of just straight getting my butt kicked on New Year's. So yeah, y'all had some parties. I don't party on New Year's. I make money, and I made some money that night.
Yes, sir.
But I'm still a little sore. I'm still a little sore from it.
Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2020 now. It still feels weird to say that. We trudge forth into a brand new decade. And holy smokes, it's shaping up to be a big one, especially for wrestling fans. Looking at the birth of AEW, going in. We've got Wrestle Kingdom going on this weekend as well. So we're getting ready to hit Royal Rumble in the road to WrestleMania. So here we go, guys. A brand new year, a brand new thing, and hang tight because we got some new stuff coming for you as well that as we get through the first half of this year, you guys are going to start to see take some really good shape. So first up, Brandon, thank you very much. What are your 5 improvements that you would like to see for WWE, and New Japan, AEW, and NXT? Thank you, guys. May 2020 be a great year for you guys. Do we doing 5 for each, or do we do one for each?
Rip through some things we want to see. Okay, Let's go. WWE. Some things we want to see them improve. For me, always consistency in storylines, not letting things fall through the cracks. I know it's really tough with just the cycle, the way that they actually have structured their creative there. It's really hard for them to not fly by the seat of their pants a little bit and let things fall through the cracks. But I mean,
it's important.
On movie sets, you have someone that's like a script supervisor, right? And they're there to, if anyone is going out there and they're wearing, the wrong jacket, or it's the, hey, before this, you were hit in the eye, you got to make sure that they have the makeup on for getting hit in the eye. Whatever it is, there's someone there to make sure that the consistency and continuity is kept. And I think there needs to be some of that in WWE, where someone's got to have a hold on the big picture. And unfortunately, there's only one guy that does, and that's Vince McMahon. Yep. And he doesn't give a crap about his overall picture if on the day something better comes along or he has a better idea. So I'd like to see that change. Do I think it will? No.
So WWE needs to hire some scripties, is basically what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is like they've got so many people writing there. Like, from what we hear, it's like an army of people writing, both on the road and back in Connecticut. The problem is that from what you hear time and time again from people who work in WWE, is you have a whole bunch of hands, and some of them are washing each other, and some of them are doing other things. But not all of them are connected to the head. Then there's a bunch of heads. And then there's a bunch of people above the heads. Like, there's just so many levels. There's all these things. It's hard to know who to talk to about what things, at what point you need to cut through some red tape, where you go when you do that. It's kind of a Byzantine creative structure that leads to chaos. Yeah. So there needs to be I think some serious restructuring in how they handle their creative. But I don't even know if they know where to start with that. And we certainly don't, because we don't know all the ins and outs of it. Yeah. So that's one. Can you think of anything off the top of your head you want to see improved in WWE?
It's mostly storyline. I would augment what you said just with long-term booking. Those things that they're doing with Bray Wyatt right now are about the best example that I can think of where they're doing this long-term. Coming out of Mania last year, we got all of our face wins, and then it was kind of like, okay, now what? We weren't really sure what to do with ourselves, and then this Firefly Funhouse thing popped up. We started seeing puppets everywhere, and it went that far back all the way up to last night.
First part of summer, yeah.
Last night, even.
Yeah.
Like, this has been almost a year-long thing that's been going on, and it's kind of just getting started. This could go for years. That's the kind of stuff I invest in.
They fell out of their pants a couple of times a little early, I think, on it. But
I think they might have learned that lesson, but we're reaping a little bit of rewards with Bray in particular. Like, we've pulled back a little bit on it. We're seeing it start to intermingle with other things, not just be about it getting to a title match as soon as possible. So we'll see. Inevitably, it's going to be something crazy with The Fiend at WrestleMania. I can't wait to see The Fiend's entrance at WrestleMania. But at the same time, I like long storylines. I like when we had Stone Cold and The Rock, the intermixing with the McMahons, and that whole big thing that swirled for years, 2 to 3 years, was fantastic. That kind of stuff is what I really like, and the fact that I invest my time, hours upon hours every single week, to be able to say, oh, I know why that happened. And I think that's one of the big things that long-term storytelling comes into play with there. What about for New Japan, Ian? What's something you'd like to see for New Japan to improve upon?
Their junior division, I think, is really strong, but their tag division always seems to fall by the wayside. And I feel like they got to do a lot of work with their consistency of their tag division. The story's there. It always seems to be a little weak. And I think going into Wrestle Kingdom, that was the case as well, where You have all the talent in the world, but just a little bit weak. And it's crazy to think of New Japan as having a weak tag division because you've had so many legendary tag teams over the years.
They also got gutted over the last few years.
I know, you just took the words out of my mouth. They absolutely got gutted recently.
War Machine,
beginning of last year.
Gallows and Anderson.
Elite.
The Elite.
Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks.
So, but again, hey, rehab is rehab, and they got to get their tag division back because they don't have a lot there right now at all.
It's really just the Guerrillas.
And their stories haven't been that great with it either. So that's definitely a big one. Aside from that, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints about New Japan. I would like to see them make their web service a little bit more intuitive. It still feels like it's about a decade old, the interface on New Japan, their app, and I'd like to see their app be available more places.
Yeah, I'm fine with the layout of it. Make it more accessible. Give me an Xbox app. Give me an Apple TV app. Make it available in more places than just the Fire Stick.
PlayStation, if it must be something, because obviously,
sure.
Japanese company, fine, whatever it is, make it available for more people. Make more inroads. I mean, to me, that seems like a no-brainer. You have the app, you have the content. Just make a portal that more people can access it through. And because right now, frankly, I've got it on the Fire Stick thing, and it's fine, but it's also a really clunky app. And I've got to re-sign in every time. If I don't watch it for more than a week, it logs me out, kicks me out, which is ridiculous. So just little quality of life things like that with their streaming service would be nice. Plus having it in more places. I think that Japan has a lot of opportunities to make inroads into the U.S. market, but they got an incredible commentating team that's really good for new people.
Yeah.
If you've never watched what's going on, Kevin Kelly is just an absolute master. They don't show recaps. And a lot of people were pointing this out last night when we were watching Wrestle Kingdom. They don't do these huge recap packages like WWE. You get a couple of promos, maybe, and then you have the entire entrance. They're coming in for Kevin Kelly to give you the history of what's going on. And he's goddamn brilliant at it. He gives you the stakes by the time they get to the ring.
So they do the replays. They don't do the packages. They don't do them in the middle of matches and while their entrances are happening, and I love that about them. I want to see the entrance. I don't want to watch a video package while somebody else is entering.
Yeah.
I want to see Evil's entrance. I want to see Marty Scurll's entrance. I want to see Okada's entrance. Oh my God, that Okada entrance last night, by the way, just Jesus Christ.
Holy crap, that Okada!
We didn't even talk about that.
But
we'll do that on our recap show, Wrestle Kingdom recap show. Anyway, the one thing I would echo the tag team thing, and I would also the one thing that I have a mild concern about is more of the future of the heavyweight division for New Japan. Like what's after Okada and Naito?
What? That's like the healthiest division they have. They've got so many guys lined up. You got 4 guys you got 4 guys that believably could have been the double champ.
I agree with
4. That's a huge.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about a year from now, 2 years from now. What happens when Okada and Naito inevitably move on?
I think Naito is the oldest one. He's the closest to moving on of all of them, which is I think why he's getting his love right now, and then he's going to start moving down the card. But you've got between Ibushi, Okada, and Jay White alone. Not talking about Tanahashi, who's kind of on the downswing on the backside of his career. Not talking about Naito, who I think is just about to get to that point where he's going to have his final big moment, and then we'll start the slow, gradual decline. You've got a lot of guys who are on the up and up right now, who are lower down, who could step up into the heavyweight division. You've got guys that are young. One of the most promising classes of young lions I've seen in a long time, and guys who are out on excursion right now. Shota Umino is going to come back as he's already making himself out to be the new Tanahashi.
And the guys in LA Dojo right now that we saw last night in the tag match.
Yeah.
Holy
Juice
smokes.
Robinson. I mean, you've got so many guys who could step up into that top of the heavyweight division. They are stacked. They don't need to worry about their heavyweight division. Junior heavyweight, maybe, especially if Ospreay goes heavyweight, another guy who could be a major heavyweight guys. Shingo's now heavyweight as well. Yeah. Again, their heavyweight division is stacked. It's so stacked. It's so stacked. Ishii doesn't even have a match at Wrestle Kingdom. Suzuki doesn't have a match at Wrestle Kingdom. They were both in tag matches, for God's sake.
So hang on, New Japan Mark. Hear my question. My question is most of New Japan has basically orbited around Okada and Bullet Club for the last 5 years, 3 to 5 years.
Yes, Okada's been the man.
What does post Okada, post Bullet Club look like in New Japan? That's almost a bonus episode. I'm asking myself, what does that world look like? Is it still as prominent and relevant outside of Japan as Bullet Club and Okada have really put it on the map in the last few years?
It's still Bullet Club. Kenta is your never open weight champion. He's Bullet Club. Jay White, up until last night, was your IC champion, and frankly, he's going to be a thorn in everybody's side for years to come because obviously Gato believes in him, and the fact that he's not the double champ is a relief, but don't think that he's not part of the main event scene. What does a post Okada world look like? Is it post Okada yet? The dude just beat Ibushi in a knockdown drag out brawl last night.
That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking about like the current events. I'm asking about the future of New Japan. Do we see an intermingling with AEW in order to bring that to the U.S.? And that was going to be my next thing about AEW. I'll go ahead and just transition into that.
Let's go to AEW. Yeah.
My AEW one is my biggest hope, biggest improvement is that I don't know if they've maxed out, but we've now seen 3 straight months of every week around 800 to 900,000 numbers. That's a plateau. That's not growing. So you've got to look outside the box. You've got to stagnant
also a weird
women.
time of year. But
it is. You've got baseball playoffs and football playoffs and all of that stuff happening. I kind of want to see what Q1 of 2020 looks like with none of that stuff going on, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, curious, skeptically optimistic about that. But how do they get over that hump of the million? How do they got close this week because NXT didn't really have a show. But at the same time, how do they consistently get into that million-plus mark now that they've got a wide-open market on Wednesday nights, Monday Night Raw on one end, and Friday Night SmackDown on the other? You own the week if you can do Tuesday night AEW Dark and Wednesday night Dynamite. Why are they not getting bigger numbers? I think that's what they've got to figure out. I think bringing in some international talent, like some more people from Mexico, more people from Japan, things like that could help expand that even more. I don't think the trick here is bringing names from WWE in that people are going to recognize.
I don't necessarily know.
That's a diminishing return that's going to run out.
But I think it will be only beneficial to AEW and to New Japan to have a working relationship, especially now that Ring of Honor is on the downswing.
Yep.
And New Japan's kind of severing its relationship with them. So I think that this could be a really good thing for them. That's one thing they need to improve. Obviously, the women's division, they need to improve the women's division. I think that's a gimme.
They'll find it. I trust them. They'll figure it
out. And then with them, like, it's still in a point where I don't want to really critique or criticize them because I know it's a lot of them finding their footing. And I feel like there's some stories or character work that they're doing that is a long-term game. And I'm looking at it through the eyes of someone who's been watching WWE, and they are very WWE-ish. AEW is the most WWE program out there that's not WWE. Much more so than Impact, much more so than Ring of Honor. And I'm trying to look at it through the lens of people who have been raised on Gato booking, and are looking at the long term and looking at long-term character development and trying to say, okay, hold on, I'm going to wait and see what they do with this. I trust them to develop these characters more than I trust WWE, which, as I said, their critique over there is they don't take their time. They're not good at telling long-term stories because they screwed up a lot of the time. They lose their focus or something else comes along and Vince goes, shiny, and then, wants to do that instead. So with AEW, like, I'm not going to come down on them too hard about feeling like they're a little directionless with some of their stories because I feel like there's a direction we're not seeing yet. Darby Allin's a great example. Sean Spears. I feel like they're going somewhere with them. We just haven't figured out where that is yet. I may be wrong. A year from now, I may come back and be like, man, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. But right now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So
here's a theory crafting question for you. Would Okada walking into AEW by surprise one day be as big as Jericho walking in to New Japan turn out? Would that turn out to be as big for AEW as it has been for bringing Jericho to New Japan?
It'd be more like Jericho walking into WWE back in the 90s. Just a huge star from another promotion. who not everyone may know, but it's actually kind of a big deal. I think it would actually be bigger than that in some senses, and not as big in others. But
But
I'm
do
just
you
talking
think the
about
American AEW audience is going to know who Kazuchika Okada is when he walks out
yes,
with
the AEW audience absolutely will.
Yeah. Okay.
Know who Kazuchika freaking Okada is. That coin gets dropped, and that roof will come off. I have no doubt that they will do it somewhere where they're guaranteed the crowd will know, like if they do it at a Chicago show, for example, or somewhere else. It's like a hardcore wrestling town, Philadelphia, something like that.
L.A.
Yeah, well, they haven't come out. They haven't had any plans to come out. They got plans to go to England before they got plans to come to the West Coast. Just saying. But so yeah, I'm pretty sure that the AEW and NJPW merger should happen, and when it does, it will be only good for the both of them.
Good. Finally, NXT. What's an improvement there that you think NXT can do?
They're in a tough place because I think the number one thing they need is to have a feel that's more like AEW, where like a bigger environment. Like they feel just so constricted now in Full Sail when you watch them versus everything else, especially with the stories they're telling and how good a lot of the stories they're telling are. The big issue with NXT is comparatively, when you're flipping back and forth between NXT and AEW, they feel so much smaller.
Yeah.
And that might be a bonus in some people's minds where they feel more like, gritty or...
Yeah, but that's just a wrestling thing.
But it's also
that.
an illusion because it's a freaking WWE show.
Yeah.
So they're not really the little gritty mom and pop wrestling thing that's struggling against this big behemoth AEW that's got the big lights and the flashy stuff and all the crowds. It's a WWE show. It's their indie show. It's WWE does 2011 Ring of Honor, which is fine. They're doing a great job at it, and it's a fantastic show. But it definitely feels diminished by the space.
I want to see Triple H and Shawn Michaels fill up a 15,000-seat arena week to week with NXT. I want it to stop getting treated like the bastard redheaded stepchild that it is and treated like a legitimate third brand.
They can't. I mean, they're not. AEW's pulling in 6,000. Like Raw, SmackDown can't do it. Raw, SmackDown can't do 15,000 at every show that they do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But you don't
in the
have
big
to
cities
go to
they can, but in Chicago and Pittsburgh and New York and you go to the bigger Atlanta, you go to the bigger cities, you can do that. You can get 10K plus.
Well, the other problem is they have a contract with Full Sail, and they have to stay there. And also, if they pull the show out of there, that's they're pissing off all of these super hardcore fans. So there's a huge argument for them not to leave Full Sail, and they do go out on tour on the road. And they go to smaller venues, so they're still out there. I just think they should start filming at those. Instead of just going on a tour and just doing house shows, film those suckers. Like, have those be your shows. And then maybe that's the plan. I don't know. But there's definitely
I love the intimacy of Full Sail. It makes it, the way they light it makes it feel bigger than it is. But there's only about 500 people in there, from what I understand. And it's, yes, there are the super high, just rabid fans that go to every single show, like Kyle and others that we know are there every single show. But I think it's doing it. What's the word I want to use there? It's kind of a double negative in a way where it's hurting it more than it's helping it.
Doing disservice.
Doing it a disservice. It's creating the atmosphere that we love, but it's not. It's restricting it from growing, constricting it from growing.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's my major issue with NXT is like getting most things right. That's the one thing that I'm like, but how do they fix that? That's the thing.
I'll do one more for NXT. You don't get to do recap shows anymore. I'm sorry. You're a live production now. You want to do recap shows like this week? You do them on social media and you put it up on YouTube. You don't get to waste a week anymore. Because
AEW took a week off. They just didn't even have a show.
Okay, that's fine. Do that. But at the same time, if you want to take a week off and blame it on the holidays. That's fantastic.
I
don't
thought it was
pre-tape something and use it as filler with superstars coming out to an empty Full Sail, standing in the ring and just cutting promos with their trophies and being like, yeah. It feels cheap and thrown together last minute. I want it. I want it to be treated like a legitimate wrestling brand, and it feels like it's still just that indie college wrestling show.
But it's supposed to. It's supposed to feel that way because that's the brand. That's literally the brand they're selling. It's like, hey, we're not old man Vince's. We're like the young hip one. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it
That's
feels
only going
like
to take you so far, though.
Well,
anyway, I don't want to go back to that debate.
All right.
You don't get to do recap shows anymore. That's what I want to on your Wednesday programming. I want to see some wrestling. Pre-tape some matches, show me some stuff. You did it on Christmas, and it was still a good show. You cobbled together a whole bunch of matches that you had pre-taped, and it was still a good show. You can do that, you know.
Have like the Super Bowl halftime show that they had last year. Remember that 6-pack challenge?
Oh God,
it's insanity.
Halftime heat. Yes, I hope they do that again.
Oh.
So I don't have to watch Lady Gaga or
that
whatever
was
other
amazing.
bullshit.
Lady Gaga was actually pretty good.
Her being on top of the stadium was
and
pretty
then jumping
amazing.
off. Come on. Gaga was a good halftime show.
Yeah, I don't want to see Maroon 5.
I don't want to screw Maroon 5. F Maroon 5. Lady Gaga. I got love for Lady Gaga.
They're doing the trade show. They've been doing the trade show circuit for the last 10 years. Maroon 5. That's how hard they're struggling.
The name is correct. 5 Maroons. 5 Maroons.
All right, we got to go to more than one question here. Thank you very much, Brandon. That was a good one. Next up, Jacob. What is your go-to match to show non-fans WWE and non-WWE?
Ooh. So to get...
I don't know that I have one off the top of my head.
To get people who aren't into wrestling, it used to be, of all things, Hell in a Cell. But now I think I'm more sophisticated, and I would never show that to someone who doesn't watch wrestling because I don't want them to get the impression that that's what wrestling is, because it's not. But on the same tip, I used to show people it was actually, holy crap, it was 21 years ago yesterday, Mankind winning the belt for the first time on Monday Night Raw. That's about as pure adrenaline wrestling as you get. And actually, I did show that to someone at the time who was a non-fan. My pops wasn't really a fan at the time, and that was the match that got him into wrestling, was watching that with me and just being so hyped. He had no idea who anyone was, but he figured it out real quick. You could figure it out. It's also some of the greatest calls Michael Cole's ever made. Michael Cole was on fire in that match, in case you forgot. Yeah. But that used to be one. But these days, that I don't think is representative of what it is now, and I'd want to show them something that would be like what it is now. There's a few Lucha Underground matches which I've shown to people, like Aztec Warfare 1. Not Aztec Warfare.
Ultimate Lucha?
No, Aztec Warfare, the Royal Rumble one that they do.
Oh yeah, okay.
And like season 1, that's a really fun, like, hey, check it. This is what wrestling can be. And that's not WWE, because it's you have a little bit of everything in that match. You've got high flyers, you've got monsters, you've got Pimpinella Escalata, you've got everything in that match. So that's one that I oftentimes will use. I'm trying to think of what else I've
the one I've used recently with someone. It wasn't a particular match, but there was a highlight video that was about 10 minutes long of the Daniel Bryan rise to WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
The story of defeating Evolution and going through the gauntlets and all of that stuff. And I showed somebody that, and they're like, oh, my God, this is amazing. I showed somebody the Shield breakup as well.
Dude,
the story of that.
Speaking of which, a recent WWE match that would be great to show a non-fan is Daniel Bryan versus Kofi at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That would be a great one because it's easy to understand right away. The match itself is very straightforward. You don't have to know a lot about the guy. Like, there's not a whole lot of nuance to be able to understand it. And it's emotional. It'll get you emotionally invested. So that's another recent WWE one I think would be a really strong one to show someone who doesn't watch wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'll go with those. I'll go with those two just off the top of my head.
There's the tropey ones that I show people all the time that aren't really matches, but the Stone Cold Beer Truck.
The stunts. Those are stunts, though.
Yeah, just stunt stuff. The rock compilations of his promos and things like that. And if it's a I guess I don't really talk wrestling with a lot of non-wrestling fans, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys find yourselves in situations where you're having to defend yourself for being a wrestling fan?
I do.
I
At
do,
the
but
bar,
I typically
yeah.
just don't. I don't
Well,
bother trying to defend myself.
But at the bar, oftentimes, AEW will be on or whatever, NXT, whatever is on at the time. And I will find that you will have people that know what it is and I have people that don't. And, there's actually been some people that have asked for recommendations. Well, what should I check out? And it depends on what mood I'm in that day. Obviously the halftime heat would be a great match to show them. Like that was what a brilliant match to show a bunch of people that might not have ever watched wrestling, was those 6 guys just bawling out for 15 minutes or whatever it was.
Wow.
Like that's a great one. The 5-way ladder match, 5-way, 6-way ladder match NXT had, where Adam Cole won the first North American Championship. Where it was like, what was it? Adam Cole, Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Killian Dane. I feel like I'm forgetting someone who's in that match too. Like what an insane
Ricochet,
match.
Dream, Dane, Adam Cole,
Lars.
I
thought it was someone else too.
Alistair was in there, I think.
Was it Alistair? No, he had another match that night. Anyway, the bottom line is that's another great one, because again, tons of action. They're not going to get bored. The stakes are very obvious. The interactions are obvious. You don't really have to know a lot to understand that match, and it's entertaining as hell. Those kinds of
They're
matches.
not doing rest holds and arm drags, basically. They're
exactly.
They're jumping off the top ropes and off of ladders.
Don't show someone who's never watched wrestling Okada Omega 2. All right, an hour-long draw. They're not going to get it. Or Jesus, don't show them 2 out of 3 falls for an hour and 15 minutes or whatever it was that had so many callbacks and like references to other wrestling matches that were just kind of there. Good God, no.
Show them the recount series on the Bullet Club from Kevin Kelly. That story, that whole thing. Talk
about matches. Talk about matches, Nick.
I know. I'm talking about
Not
things
specials.
People invest in wrestling from storyline. I think they treat it like a soap opera. So it's not a particular match that.
But that's But I'm saying no, Nick. Exactly. I'm saying look for a match that has the storyline already in it. You don't have to show them all that stuff.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Like think of a match that has story built in, where you don't have to understand
Kofi's
any
a good
story.
one. The Dan Bryan
Kofi
was probably the
WrestleMania.
best one. Yeah.
30 seconds of introduction, and you know exactly where you stand.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. Is instead of having to like know all the history, you can just walk into the match cold and be like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
Good question, Jacob.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. Thank you for that one. Next up, Andy. Once the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental titles are unified tonight, what does the future hold for them? Will the holder have an extended run with both, or will he drop one or both quickly? How do you see them being separated eventually?
I wonder. That's actually a good question in the sense that if Naito wins, and given his complicated history with the Intercontinental belt,
does he just want to get rid of it?
does he unify the titles? Does he say this is one belt now? And do they get a new belt and it's a unified Intercontinental and Heavyweight Championship, and then they just hold on to that unified belt for a while?
Do you think it's New Japan or Gato thinking they've got too many belts with all the never opens and
no,
things
because
like that?
they have so many. Like we were just talking about how many guys they have, how much talent is in the heavyweight division. They actually need more belts. They created the U.S. title because they had too many guys, and they also that was advertising for the U.S. But
they can't get rid of that Intercontinental belt, man. That thing's beautiful, and the heavyweight one.
All their belts are beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I see Naito dropping it by the summer.
Yeah.
To be honest.
One or both?
Just one.
Tana dropped the heavyweight to Jay White
right away.
The first 6 weeks or something,
yeah,
right?
He did. Well, that story was over.
Yeah.
But I guess if Naito wins both belts, his story's kind of over too. Like he's reached the mountaintop.
That's it. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah. Yeah, wild, man.
I don't know. We'll have to see how things shake out, man. If it's Okada, I don't know that they unify them, honestly. I think it's a 2-belt situation.
I think Okada wins. If Okada wins it, he's the kind of dude, like, I mean, it would totally devalue the IC belt to do this, but have him be like, because his whole line up until this point has been, there's only one belt. The Intercontinental belt doesn't matter. The only belt that matters is the Heavyweight Championship belt. That's been his whole thing.
Yeah.
This is the only belt that matters. And Naito's felt that way for years. And he's hated the IC belt because it stole his spotlight back in the day when they had the fan vote, right? So Naito's felt like the heavyweight belt is the only one that matters, and winning the Intercontinental belt is an insult to him and his career, and he hates the IC belt, although he's come back around to it now because now it's his gateway to the heavyweight belt. And now he's gotten through that gateway. Now he's got to hit 2 home runs in a row, as he's been saying, and get both the IC belt and the heavyweight belt back to back.
What if he beats Naito and then just doesn't want the IC belt and just hands it back to Naito?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want this thing anyway. Yeah,
just tosses it aside.
Onto his limp corpse after he's beat him. Oh, man, that would be so good.
But, well, that would also suck because it would totally illegitimize the IC belt. It would make it look like a lesser belt.
Naito's got to win tonight.
He has to win tonight. I know.
That's really what it comes down to. Holy shit.
He really does. He really does. I've been calling it.
Damn it, Gato.
I've been calling it for months.
You son of a bitch.
Don't blame Gato. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. So let's assume Naito's winning, which I think he just absolutely has to. If Naito loses here, people will burn down the Tokyo Dome at this point. Like they can't screw over Naito twice in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. Like when Okada beat him last time, people were ready to riot. You remember that? Like it was like everyone thought it was destined that Naito was going to beat Okada, whatever it was 2 years ago.
If they do that to him again, hard Okada was hitting Ibushi last night, though? Can Naito take all of that?
Oh, of course. Have you seen how hard Ibushi and Naito hit each other earlier this year? Of course Naito can.
But he's working the knee thing, too, from that match this morning.
Dude, Naito's legs terrify me. Have you noticed they look like little parentheses when he walks? Like his calves are so bowed out. Like I don't know what he did. Anyway, okay.
All the Destinos.
We digress.
Yeah.
What do we see them doing? I would like to see Naito hold on to both belts at least till Dominion and then maybe drop the IC belt.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting story if the first belt he loses is the heavyweight belt and he's back to just having the IC belt. Like he was on the mountaintop and now he's back to his old hated belt, the IC belt. Like that would be kind of an interesting story for Naito.
Yeah. Stuck back with the IC.
Yeah.
And he goes back to hating it, right? It's his
maybe
it's his
or
succubus.
Maybe or he's like, at least I have you, old friend.
Yeah. Speaking of which, real quick, as a quick aside, do we need to do a pick for the losers match tonight, Jay White and Ibushi?
No, we already did. We both said
Ibushi.
we both said White's winning either way, I think. Hold on, let me pull it up. I've got it right here.
We just need to get that on the record if we haven't already.
Loser. Oh, yeah. You're screwed. Loser of Okada Ibushi versus loser of Jay White Naito. So what we did was we based this on our pick for the first night. We were gamblers. We went all in. We said based on your outcome for the first night.
I picked Okada, didn't I?
You did. You said Okada was going to lose twice in a row. Whereas I said, you said Okada was going to win tonight. He's going to lose one night and then win the second night, is what you said.
Yeah.
I said White was going to win tonight. So, and I'm
great.
I don't know. I think Ibushi's getting his back tonight.
I do too.
I think because they're not going to have 2-0. Oh no, White is going to win because Ibushi beat him at the G1. So White's totally beating Ibushi tonight. He's totally going to get back his win from the G1. Oh, yeah. I'm totally winning this one tonight.
All right. Thank you, Andy, for that great question. Let's see. Next up, Martin. I have a figurative zoo at home. I have a cat, a bearded dragon, 3 tarantulas, and 2 goldfish. Can you name them for me? The cat and goldfish after legends. The bearded dragon and tarantulas after current wrestlers. All right, so we have to name a cat and 2 goldfish.
Well, the cat's
after legends.
A cat after a legend. You have to call him Ernest the Cat Miller.
Oh God. Okay.
Ernest Miller. Come here, Ernest. Ernie. You gotta call the cat Ernest the Cat Miller. What else do we have? Cat.
Two goldfish.
2 goldfish that are legends.
Bushwhackers. I don't know. Midnight Express. Do we have any orange wearing tag? We could. Oh, Shawn Michaels and Jannetty. They had the pretty colors, right?
I was actually going to say name them after the Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah. All right.
Austin and Pillman. Your 2 goldfish, Austin and Pillman, the Hollywood Blondes, because they're They're gold fish. I'm sticking with that one. I'm sticking with Hollywood Blondes. So we got Ernest the Cat Miller, Austin and Pillman, the Hollywood Blonde goldfish.
And we got to do a bearded dragon and 3 tarantulas. Why do you have 3 tarantulas, Martin? Is one not enough?
So they can have a threesome, little spider threesome.
Oh, don't the females eat the males after they mate?
Those got to go somewhere. Well, yeah, you have to have enough for them to eat. That's praying mantises. If you've never seen a tarantula shed its skin, it's the creepiest goddamn thing you've ever seen in your life.
Stop it. No, I'm literally have chill bumps. Don't do that.
Not a fan of spiders?
Nope.
Really?
Indiana Jones is snakes. I'm spiders.
No kidding.
Yep. And they're everywhere in North Carolina. Like you guys out in California don't know spiders.
Oh, I'm sorry. A tarantula is the size of your face, pal. You're gonna tell me I don't know spiders?
Yeah, tarantulas don't build webs between your house and your car that you have to walk through every morning.
I don't know. We got some orb weavers out here that are pretty gnarly, but y'all ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing like Australia. All right.
No.
I saw one of those trapdoor spiders they have out there. Highly aggressive, live in urban areas, build funnel web spiders.
Yeah. They've got the trapdoor.
Yeah, and they live in urban areas. They love urban areas. They're about yay big.
Yeah.
And a yay about 4 inches across. And their front fangs are long enough, sharp enough, and they have enough force behind them to pierce a leather boot. And they're highly aggressive and highly venomous. They will mess you up. So y'all want to talk about spiders? I've been to Australia. There is no scarier place on this planet if you have a spider issue, arachnophobia, than Australia.
I almost didn't make it through the Lord of the Rings trilogy because of Shelob. Like when I was reading the book in high school, I almost didn't finish the book because I got there and they were just, Tolkien was just describing Shelob. And I even thinking about it now takes me back to my childhood and remembering that. Yeah, I don't do spiders. Let's see. So we got to do a bearded dragon.
I think wasn't she based on? Yeah. Oh, according to Peter Jackson, Shelob was inspired by the New Zealand tunnel web spider, which is very similar to the funnel web over in Australia. So there you go, buddy. So where were we? Oh, bearded dragons and tarantulas.
Bearded dragon and 3 tarantulas.
Bearded dragon's easy. You have to call him the American bearded dragon, Daniel Bryan.
Yes. I was going to go with American dragon. Yeah, American bearded dragon is better.
American bearded dragon, Daniel Bryan.
Even though he's shorn now.
He is shorn now, but we can always remember the back in the days where he looked like the big old goat.
Yeah.
And then 3 tarantulas. I mean, do you call the tarantulas the Good Brothers and name them Anderson Gallows and AJ? The 3 tarantulas?
I'd call them the Hollies. Because if one of them's female, you got Molly Holly and then Crash Holly and what was the little guy?
That Crash was the little guy.
Bob Holly.
Bob Holly and
Crash Holly.
Spark plug, Bob Holly.
The Hollies. There you go. They're not current. Oh, we got to do current wrestlers. Oh, okay. The New Day. The New Day.
The New Day is tarantulas?
Yeah.
Come back with me to the dark
side.
Or
the Forgotten Sons. The Forgotten Sons.
Oh, for crying out loud.
You got to have one big one that's Jackson Riker, and then you can have Blake and Cutler.
Jackson Spider?
Jackson Spider.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on it.
What has happened to our wrestling show?
We're naming animals. That's what we're doing. Come on. It's not that hard.
Oh, God. Oh, this is fun. Martin, thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the names. And,
or it could be, what about the undisputed Tarantula? The undisputed
All
Tarantula.
Right, moving on.
Tarantula.
Tarantula?
The undisputed Tarantula.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of mad that the goldfish had to be classics because I would have loved to name one of them Bobby Fish.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying. Okay,
Red
sorry.
Dragon. Thank you very much, Martin. Let us know if you decide to implement any of those.
That was figurative, wasn't it? Or does he actually have all those animals?
He has a figurative zoo.
Not literal.
Do you? Okay. If he really has,
do you actually have
tarantulas,
all these critters?
I don't know.
Martin, get back to us. Do you actually have these critters? I mean, he said a figurative zoo because a literal zoo would mean that he actually shows it to people and charges them admission. A figurative zoo would mean that he has a lot of animals at home, but could actually have all these animals. So
I'm interpreting it as he has all of these as pets in his home.
How does he have them all as pets and they're not named yet?
Agreed.
Okay, anyway, I don't know.
Thank you, Martin. That was fun. Next up, Marshall. Happy New Year and New Decade. Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
With movies with wrestlers in them, which movie do you put at the top of your list and which do you put as the absolute worst? I'll jump in here and say there was one recently with Dolph Ziggler 2 years ago that I was pleasantly surprised that was actually really good. I cannot remember for the life of me the name of it, though. If you guys in chat know, let me know. It was some movie with Dolph Ziggler where he was extremely good in it. I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw yet to see how Roman Reigns did. I've got it queued up, ready to watch. But, yeah, worst one? I'd have to think about that one. Some of those John Cena Marine ones were awful.
Not ready to rumble?
I don't know that I ever actually saw. I can't remember anything about that one.
It's the drizzling shits. That being said, Hulk Hogan back in the day had what was it?
No Holds Barred with Zeus.
That was actually watchable.
It was
terrible.
It was an enjoyable
terrible,
movie.
But it was watchable. I was thinking of was it Mr. Nanny, where Hogan was the babysitter dressed up in like the tutu, and The Rock had to go through the same thing later. I forget.
I don't know. Countdown was that movie with Dolph Ziggler. Watch Countdown, and I'd love to hear what you guys think.
Suburban
2016.
Commando with Hulk Hogan is
Oh,
awful.
Oh.
Is awful. Or no, what was the one with Triple H did a horrible movie. The cover art is absolutely atrocious. The Chaperone. Remember the
Chaperone
with the kids? Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, it was awful.
If that didn't kill Triple H's his movie career, then Blade 3 sure did. Like, oh my God.
Ryan Reynolds was the only thing worth watching in Blade 3.
Agree. Well, Wesley Snipes is always great as Blade, but
Sure.
And I'll watch Jessica. What's her nuts? Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
I'd watch her eat a can of peanuts. Speaking of nuts. As far as best movies with the wrestler in them, I'm gonna once again have to do an Ernest the Cat Miller reference because he was in the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. And that is the best. That's not only the best movie about professional wrestling ever made.
That movie is 5-star fantastic. I did not know that he was actually in that one. Yeah, that movie, if you've not seen The Wrestler, guys, with Mickey Rourke, it's mwah.
Also, the guy that Mickey Rourke faces in that death match in there is Necro Butcher, who's an actual death match guy.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I'm going to have to go back and watch that one. Give me I'll twist my arm to go back and watch The Wrestler.
Throwing down the knowledge. Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to think of one of the ones that The Rock was in, and he's had several that have just been fantastic. But one of my little hidden gems that I love is the one with Sean Duda. Is it Rundown?
The Rundown.
I think is the name of it.
Oh my God! Get out of here!
It's so
monkey.
Fun. Yeah, the monkey.
Get out of here! They're both paralyzed and they're lying on the ground. All they can move is their lips.
They ate like the psychedelic cactus or whatever it was, something like that. They're
paralyzed on the ground and the monkeys come and hump them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his second movie. That was his second movie ever after Scorpion King.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
Can't not throw some love to Predator. Jesse the Body.
And Running Man. And Running Man with Jesse the Body.
Yeah, that's true.
Predator is one of the greatest action movies ever made, hands down, hard, full stop. My God, was McTiernan on a roll then or what? He did Predator and Die Hard back to back. Back to back. Predator and Die Hard. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
He'll live off the He's lived off the royalties of those two films for the last 30 years.
It's almost paid his legal fees for all the shit he got into recently. Anyway, we're not talking about movies like that. We're talking about movies with wrestlers in them. Trying to think about oh my God, They Live with Roddy Piper.
Oh, of course. That's movie's fun.
And it holds up unbelievably well.
Yeah.
For a movie that is nearly, like, what is it, 35 years old now? It's still completely relevant. It is 100% relevant to right now.
Yeah.
Oh, They Live. Mother of God. Brian in the chat, B-Rye says in the chat, Terry Funk and Roadhouse. Amen, son. Amen to Terry Funk.
Well done.
Amen to Terry Funk and Roadhouse. Well said. Well said indeed. That's a great call. I actually had Roadhouse on the bar the other night. What a fantastic movie that is.
God, that movie just never gets old. I will watch that movie any given time.
Dude, how slept on was Swayze back in the day? He could do no wrong back in the day. I mean, between like with the women with Ghost and Dirty Dancing, and then with the dudes with Point Break and Roadhouse. Like, come on. Come on. And then he can outdance Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live.
I think he was part of the last generation of great movie stars. So we've got Tom Cruise, Denzel. We had some Eddie Murphy in there for a while. But if you look at the class of like the generation that we're kind of down to Tom Cruise and Denzel now. Like if you think about like great movie stars.
Like 80 like top movies.
People you don't know anything about the movie, but I'm going to go see that new Tom Cruise movie. I'm going to go see that new Denzel movie. Right, so I'm gonna go see a movie because a person's in it, not because of what the movie's about.
Right.
That's what I'm referring to. That's the
definition of a movie star. Is
Patrick Swayze was one of those.
Their existence brings you in the door.
Right.
Yeah. Are there any wrestlers that you think that are like that? That like just because of The Rock, obviously, is the only genuine bona fide movie star that I can think that's come out of pro wrestling. Like genuine, bona fide, became a movie star that would draw people. Like a guy that was a draw. Because Hulk Hogan never became that. They didn't go watch Rocky 3 because of Hulk Hogan. They didn't go watch.
Rocky's the only one that's crossed the chasm. I mean, Cena had potential, still has a little bit of potential, but
he's still got potential.
He's still a little hammy, and he's still a little bit corny. He's doing the shit with Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, where he's the hookup and just, and then he's doing this comedy. They're running him through the formula. He's doing the comedy fireman movie right now, and
he's got to be careful he doesn't get stuck in that though. He was in Daddy's Home too. Like he's got to be careful he doesn't get stuck in the formula of those kind of comedies, because as good as he is at those, and he's got so much more to give, and he's got to look for that. Like the one where what was the name of it? Was it The Wall? The one where he plays the downed soldier that he's got to like talk a sniper through covering him. It was a pretty crazy movie.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that kind of stuff. He's really good at playing a military guy for multiple obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, okay. Lots of talk about wrestling.
Marshall
movies.
Batista. Thank you very much. One of my favorite movies of the last decade.
He's not.
Is the two Guardians films.
I would argue he's not a draw yet. He's still a supporting actor for the most part, whether it's Blade Runner or Spectre or even the Guardians films. Like, did Stuber open that big? I don't think it did.
Not
because
really.
that was his leading man.
It was a Netflix movie, I thought, wasn't it?
No, it came out in theaters.
Did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's officially a bona fide
It's a funny movie
star yet. Like he's probably one of the biggest guys out there who's ever done it, who was a wrestler. In terms of his success, in terms of the movies he's been in, for sure. I mean,
him and Rock right now, currently, yeah.
Total gross of movies that you were in.
Rock's the highest paid male movie star today
in the world. Yeah,
period,
he's
in the world.
He's bona fide. But I'm saying if Rock's got to have the number one in terms of overall movie gross for movies he was in between Final Fantasy, Fast and the Furious, Fast and the Furious, and G.I. Joe and all the rest of it. Jumanji, like he's killing it. But Batista's up there too because he's been in so many movies that grossed so much. He just wasn't the star, not yet. So he's not, in my opinion, a proven bona fide movie star in the way that we're talking about. He is a big success. He's had a ton of success in movies, and they are talked about in two very different ways. Here in La La Land, here in sunny Southern California, they're talked about in two very different ways. Someone who can be in a movie that is successful and do their part well, and someone who is a leading actor who is a movie star. It's the way you think about in WWE. There can be only one the guy, right? One or two the guys who can headline WrestleMania, and then there's guys who are perennially mid-carders.
Right.
So,
welcome to our movie podcast.
Yeah, right.
Ian and I can talk movies all day. In fact, when we would go at the bar, we'd hang out with shout out to Andy and Evans. We would just talk movies for hours.
Guys. I have another podcast about movies, for God's sake, and it's just about one particular genre of movies. Anyway.
Thank you, Marshall, for the question. That's a good one.
I drink and I know things.
Yes. Next up, the champ, Brian Average, asks, hey, guys, just want to say Happy New Year to you and everyone else. Happy New Year to you, champ. Also, I wanted to remind everyone I ended the decade as your BWO Pick'ems champion and plan on continuing my reign into the next decade. My New Year's resolution is to not only retain my... Yeah.
Oh, he means 20s. He means the 20s. He doesn't mean the 30s. Okay, just checking.
He says, my New Year's resolution is to not only retain my title at the Royal Rumble, but to also make sure I also beat Nick, since he did truly have the highest point total at Survivor Series. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sun even shines on a dog's ass from time to time. Like Becky needs to beat Asuka to erase that blemish, I need to do the same for my title reign. Oh, by the way, did you know Becky's engaged to Seth Rollins? Do you know Charlotte's
was that his question?
Do you know Nikki Bella? Yeah.
Yes. His question? Yes, we did know that.
Wait, what? They are? Oh, my God. I didn't even know.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Wow, yeah.
They've actually been pretty good at not mentioning that recently because, Seth's like one of their big heels and Becky is kind of one of their number one faces. So they've actually been pretty good about not saying that. So, we'll see if that stays the case.
Yep. We'll see you at Royal Rumble, champ.
Also, I know that they both, Seth and Becky, were really unhappy with how that was handled this summer. Like they were both unhappy that was brought up as a plot line. They felt it was kind of a bungled angle and the whole thing was screwed up. So it's actually a joke that like we still make and it's still funny, I think. But it's becoming less and less relevant and less true. Like they've actually been pretty good at not talking about it at all.
By the way, since I've got the patrons here, quick little note. We've been having some issues with our merch supplier. There's a reason the stuff hasn't been sent out yet for Survivor Series. Some businessy type stuff that we've been dealing with. Plus, we're working on transitioning to pro wrestling tees. I know I owe you guys all that stuff, the stickers and Champ will get you your exclusive shirt and all that. But I'm trying to. We've waited this long. I'm trying to wait till we get to the transition to Pro Wrestling Tees so I can send you that. So it has the nice Pro Wrestling Tees logo in the shirt and all that good stuff. And it's a higher quality shirt. So
that damn logo.
Yep.
On the shirt.
So
the bad one with me giving the eyeballs.
Yes. That's not going on the shirt though, is it? That's going on the sticker.
Is that the sticker? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just
because everybody beat you except Andy.
Shut up. Well, and Abraham Castillo. Who got the Dog Ziggler booby prize.
Right. He got his already, but I feel bad. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on some of that stuff. There's some businessy type stuff on the back end that's hasn't been working so well. So stay tuned. I know we owe you guys all that stuff.
Brian is actually in the chat right now, and he said, Becky turns heel this year. Wedding at SummerSlam. Damn you! Roman's in the cake. He comes out. He's been having an affair with Becky the entire time.
That could work. Oh, my God.
No! Oh, God. Look what you did. You made Nick book. Don't do it. No. No. Don't give him any. Thank
you, champ. And we'll see you at Royal Rumble. Next up, Josh asked, do you guys see Ring of Honor lasting through the year, or is the writing on the wall for them? I think I've said all I need to say about Ring of Honor. I would not be surprised if WWE just wrote a small check and just absorbed the talent and the library. They've got an awesome library of content for the last decade.
Jesus, can you imagine?
It wouldn't be that big of a check either at this point, to be honest with you. I think Impact is the bigger fish. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cons had their eyes on Impact.
Impact is currently owned by a huge company that's trying to build them. I think that Ring of Honor is way more in trouble than Impact right now.
Vince could sneeze and buy Ring of Honor.
What would they sell? And that's the real question right now. Yeah.
You're not. If you can't draw 5,000 people to a pay-per-view, it's the writing's on the wall.
But we said the same thing about TNA, and somehow TNA kept coming back from the dead. I just don't know if Ring of Honor has the same what is it? Ability to resurge the way that Impact did.
Yeah, but TNA was borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and it was all kinds of, there was some shady dealings going on, and it just.
Well, it sounds like Ring of Honor is a shit show right now too in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
is the writing on the wall? Never say never in wrestling. Again, like just after everything that happened with TNA, where people were declaring them dead, time and time and time again, I never say never. Could Ring of Honor come back? Yes. Could they be dead by the end of the year? Could they be dead the next 6 months?
Yes.
Could they be dead by next week? Yes. Yes, they could.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, Esmeralda.
Yes.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to you, Esme.
She was up late with us last night in the chat.
Yeah, she was. Hey, a lot of you guys, troopers. Thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah,
we'll be back tonight. Midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. We're back at it again. Night
I'll
2.
be at work. Don't spoil it for me, you
I'll
animals.
be there. I'll be there with you guys. Yeah. Watch night 1. Sleep for like 4 hours. Record 4 hours of 4 hours of show. I'll be up editing and posting and doing all of that just in time for the midnight night 2 to start, and I'll be up till 6 or 7 again.
You want to trade? I got 8 hours of giving people drinks and dealing with drunks. And
all right, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut up.
Okay.
Esme asks, if Sonya Deville decides not to renew her contract, where should she go? Does she have the capability to be a top woman in another promotion?
You know what's funny? I haven't seen enough of her to know.
Yeah.
I think she's good. I think she's very good. And she's obviously she's Performance Center trained, and they really do seem to put out some pretty solid talent for the most part, or people that have a good head on their shoulders. Where does she go? I mean, AEW, Lord knows they could use her. They could use someone like Sonya Deville, who's got the WWE slickness to her. And they could do a lot with her story-wise that WWE shouldn't or can't. So AEW would be my first thought, or Impact.
Impact is the one I was going to say.
I think the ceiling might be a little bit tight at Impact for someone like Sonya. Definitely not Japan.
No.
Although yeah, maybe not. I mean, she actually could do some work in Stardom. I think she actually could do pretty good in Stardom. But, obviously, I don't think with any of these it has to be one. Obviously, with Impact and AEW might sign her to like an exclusive contract. But if she goes to Stardom, she could work there in a few other places as well. I think she would need to build up some indie cred. If not AEW, I think she should go build up some indie cred, kind of like Cody did. To just, as a WWE wrestler coming out of WWE with pretty much only WWE experience, you've got to go get the indie kids on your side.
I could see her going down to NXT, if anything,
Well, she says of leaving WWE in general, right?
Oh, okay. Well, so okay.
The contract expires.
Impact would be my choice.
Not renewed.
Have her
endeavor.
go over with Tessa and Taya and
I think Taya's coming to WWE.
I do. I think that writing's on the wall. Yeah. Inevitably.
Yeah, we'll see.
She'll fit in well.
Yeah, so I think Sonya to AEW. I'm not gonna say you heard it here first. I'm not gonna say that yet because for one, she hasn't she hasn't gotten out of her contract, and 2, I don't know if that would be the place.
I also think she's really comfortable right now.
Oh hell yeah.
I don't know if she's leaving. I don't know if she's going. I would actually bet that she stays and even take less money. But I think she's renewing. I don't think she's going.
I don't think she's going to take less money. I mean, she's on TV. She's on TV fairly regularly. She's in a generally speaking, if you look at top to bottom, how the statistics of everyone in that company, she's in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of women in that company, she's on TV. She's on the main roster. She's got a fairly established character. She's probably pulling down, a few $100,000 a year. Not having to work her body as hard as some of the higher ups on the card. I mean, that doesn't suck. Like in the wrestling business, that kind of consistency and that kind of money, that does not suck at all. That's amazing. It's the reason why so many people in WWE are comfortable going out and we're screaming, "Hey, guy, you got to push Sonya Deville. You got to push her." And she's sitting there going, "Yo, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm just happy to have a job. I'm on TV every so often. There's an action figure of me. I'm good. Like, push me, don't push me. have me get pinned every week. I don't care. I'm living good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be, not everyone has to be ambitious to be at the top of the card to, you know, in modern WWE.
No.
So
somebody's got to eat all that catering they order, you know? And her and Mandy love fried chicken, so that's...
What?
Oh, yeah, it's a whole running thing. They when they're on the road, they always stop for fried chicken.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't watch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Total
You don't
Divas.
watch Total Divas?
I don't watch Total Divas, Nick. Jesus.
It's one of the ways the girls and I bond over wrestling.
Uh-huh.
Or the girl and I, not the girls.
I was going to say, oh, boy.
I'm tired.
Woo!
Really tired.
Esther, if you heard that, it was a Freudian slip. Nick did not mean to say he meant you and, you know, you and the other you, that, you know, the Nick, help me here. Don't you have do you have like a female goldfish or something?
Oh, no.
You and Nia. It was her and Nia. Her and the Nia Jax statue. Yeah, that's what you meant.
I also don't want to give off the impression that I watch TV with Nia. That's even worse.
Holding her in your arms.
No.
You know, it's like Tommy Dreamer in ECW. Got one arm around Esther, one arm around Nia. I'll take them both.
No.
I'll take them both.
God, no, please. No.
Yep.
We're going to figure out one day how that Nia shrine comes down. So help me God.
Hey, the only way that Nia shrine goes down, ... Phrasing. Moving on.
Oh, God. Thank you guys so much for all your questions. I believe that was the last one. Let me give it a quick little refresh here, make sure nobody else snuck one in real quick. Nope, that was the last one. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Like I said, we will be back tonight, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, for the pre-show of Wrestle Kingdom 14 Night 2 on our Discord community. You have to hang out in there. We definitely Andy says 5,000 subs, Nia Shrine comes down.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we're at 450. So yeah,
I like that number, Andy. I like that number a lot.
I like your ambition.
Yes.
I love the positive attitude there.
I have that positive. Hey, I will absolutely let that Nia Shrine come down at 5,000. Absolutely.
All right. Mark it
there
here,
it is.
guys.
Mark
you heard it here.
5,
January 4th, 2020.
Is it the 4th? It's the 5th today.
This morning was the 4th. Wrestle Kingdom, January 4th, 2 a.m. 4th.
Okay,
Today's
so that Mankind match was 21 years ago today. I thought it was the 5th. I don't know what day it is.
I've kind of lost track too, being off and on vacation. It's like,
all right,
I don't know what to do with myself.
Let's get out of here now. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us today. Thank you for joining us on our patrons message. Where are we? Our patron mailbag episode. Thank you for joining us. As Nick was saying, come join us tonight on Discord for Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. We will be back on Tuesday at 5 Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern with another live show on YouTube. You can find us there. Please subscribe. Tell everyone you know to subscribe, because the more subscribers we have on YouTube, the more cool stuff unlocks, the more cool stuff we can do, and the better we get. If you're not now a patron, sign up there as well, because you will be helping us to make this show grow and get better and do lots more things. We got the plans. We got things we want to do. We can help. And thank you to all of us, all you guys who are currently patrons who are helping us do that right now. Nick, what did I miss?
That's about it. I'll save you guys.
Hey.
I'll save you guys the typical diatribe and just say links to all of the stuff in the description below if you're on YouTube, and in the show notes of the podcast if you're listening in the audio. We'll just do this and get out of here. My name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Somebody stop the damn match!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.